This is a very important video on a very important yoga pose. Uh, According to me, this pose that I'm going to talk about in this video is one of the most important poses in yoga for the simple reason that it not only is one of the most effective poses when it comes to losing fat and strengthening your body, but it is a very versatile pose. It is something that can be done by people of various levels of fitness and health. Even if you are a complete beginner, you can at least try the simpler versions of this pose, and that will be equally effective in helping you reduce weight. In my previous yoga practice video, I made a video on the palm tree pose, which is called Tadasana. In that pose, we were putting more weight on the toes. Basically, we were engaging the muscles of the leg that get activated when we put weight on the toes and we stretch our spine as much as possible. Now, we are now going to do something that is slightly different from this, but we are going to engage the muscles of the legs, but the only difference would be that we would be putting more weight on the heels and we'll be engaging the muscles of the legs that get activated when you put more weight on the heels. And apart from that, we would also be trying to keep our core muscles as stable as possible, and we'll be trying to keep our spine straight. So the reason why I said that this is one of the most versatile poses is not just because it is something that everyone can practice, but it is also something that engages the maximum amount of muscles when you practice it. So the chair pose or Utkatasana is something that comes in different variations, and you can also increase the intensity of this pose depending upon your level of fitness. And let us quickly look at the form and the technique of doing this pose. Like I said, it's something that even beginners can do, and it will be equally effective. It will be extremely effective actually, and it's one of the most efficient poses when it comes to losing fat, increasing strength, increasing flexibility, increasing mobility of the hip joint, increasing the stability of the spine and flexibility of the spine, and also strengthening the overall body, the core, and the spine. So let us look at the technique of performing this pose. Place two fingers distance between the 2 feet. The feet are parallel to each other. Inhale, raise the hands up. Exhale, fold the knees and go down. Make sure that you maintain this position with normal abdominal breathing, which means as you breathe in, the belly should swell up, and as you breathe out, the belly caves in. Let us look at this from another angle. As you go down, make sure that the thighs are parallel to the floor. The knees should be either behind the toes or in line with the toes, but the knees should not cross the toes. Ensure that the spine is erect. You're forming a chair with your body. That's the reason why it's called the chair pose. Initially, you may not be able to keep the thighs as parallel as I am keeping them, so you can keep them slightly slanting if you are a beginner. But do not compromise with the position of the spine. Try to keep the spine as erect as possible. Try to put more weight on the heels. As the first variation of the chair pose, um, for people who are complete beginners, they may not be able to pull off the pose the way I have done it. Like, they may not be able to make the thighs as parallel to the floor as possible. So what they can do is they can uh, they can make sure that the thighs are not completely parallel, but they should not compensate with the position of the spine. Just ensure that the back remains as straight as possible, whereas the thighs can be slightly less parallel to the floor. Also, it is better that you place 2 fingers distance between the 2 feet, but if that is too challenging for you, then you can also increase the distance between the 2 feet when you practice this first variation of the chair pose. Next, we'll be seeing the second variation of the chair pose. In this second variation, Also, you keeping 2 fingers distance between the 2 feet. The only difference in this is that as you breathe in, you take the hands all the way up, and then as you breathe out, you fold the knees while keeping the hands up. Make sure that the arms remain touching the side of the head, and the spine and the arms are making one straight line. And then there's the third variation of the chair pose. Uh, this is a bit challenging and is something that advanced practitioners should do. Initially, you may not be able to do it if you are a beginner, but you can have a look at this third variation of the chair pose. It is extremely good uh, in dealing with the leg asymmetry. That means your body is asymmetrical. One side of the body will always be stronger than the other side, and especially with the hands and the legs. Uh, one of your legs will be weaker and one of the legs will be stronger. So what this pose, this third variation of the chair pose does is it ensures that both the legs are uh, properly balanced, the and you are not just strengthening the legs but also improving your balance in this pose. Just have a look at this. The main difference over here is that there is no gap between the feet and no gap between the knees and the thighs. The knees are together, thighs together, and the feet are together. You're placing the palms on the thighs first, then fold the knees, go down, and then join the palms. Try to keep the spine straight. Make sure that you're putting more weight on the heels and try to look up as much as possible so that you can make the spine as straight as possible. You're shifting the weight onto the heels. Try to keep the body as stable as possible. This was a slightly challenging version of the chair pose. This is not something that beginners might be able to do straight away, but you can try it. It's really effective in strengthening the legs and also in correcting the asymmetrical nature of the legs. You will see that when you do this pose, there will be a tendency to tilt towards the side where the leg is weaker, but you should ensure that your body remains stable, and that is the trick while performing this pose. Now, apart from this, there is another pose which is not really Utkatasana, but it's called Bhavasana. This pose requires a lot more focus and balance, apart from the fact that it requires a lot of flexibility in the hips, and it requires a lot of strength and strength in the legs and flexibility in the spine. Just have a look at this pose. So in this pose, you're either keeping 8 fingers distance between the 2 heels, or you can keep more than 8 fingers distance, depending upon your comfort. Make sure that the feet are turned outwards so that the feet form one straight line, and then the knees are also turned outwards. Make the thighs parallel to the floor by folding the knees, join the palms, and keep the spine as straight as possible. As you can see over here, the feet are turned outwards in such a way that they form one straight line, and the knees are turned outwards too. The thighs are parallel to the floor, and the spine is as straight as possible. Try to keep the gaze fixed on one point in front of you so that you can maintain the balance. Otherwise, you'll lose the balance. The eyes need to be absolutely fixed on one point. keep the breathing normal and maintain as long as you can. This was the chair pose, also known as Utkatasana. Oh, I'm sorry. This was Bhavasana, which is similar to Utkatasana, which is the chair pose. Uh, this is a little bit more challenging because not only does it require a lot of strength in your legs and your joints, but it requires immense focus. If you move your eyes even a little bit, you will lose focus and you'll lose balance. As you can see, I almost lost my balance while demonstrating the pose. So you have to keep your eyes fixed at all times while doing this pose. It increases your focus and your balance as well. So these were the poses that I consider to be one of the most important yoga poses, for the simple reason that I would like to repeat myself, for the simple reason that uh, not only does it is it the most one of the most efficient ways of losing fat, but it is also something that will strengthen your legs, your spine, your core. You'll get abs too, and plus it's basically also improving the flexibility of your hip joint and your spine. So this is like a super yoga pose. It has multiple benefits. Again, something that everyone can do, except for the few poses that I spoke about towards the end. The initial few poses everyone can do, and and let me know in the comment section what you think about it. If you don't think that it's one of the most important poses, you should actually try it, and then you would agree with me too. That I would like to add that if you are male and if you are trying out these poses, it's important that you wear an Indian loin cloth, which is also known as Langota in Hindi, which is the traditional yoga wear, which was also used traditionally for wrestling purposes. So why do you need to wear that? Well, already made videos on the Langota. I've also started making playlists. The playlist will have all the videos related to a particular topic. It will cover all the videos that are related to one particular topic. So basically, like for example, if it's the Indian loincloth, I have all the videos that I've made related to the Indian loincloth. I've clubbed them into one playlist. So please do have a look at those playlists. I've also made playlists for other topics that are related to each other. So do have a look. I have given the links to all those playlists in the description below. Do have a look and let me know what you think about them. And also do try out these poses. These are extremely good poses, and in my opinion, one of the best poses in yoga. And so that's it. Thanks for watching.